Good evening, my colleagues, members of the Executive Committee of CropLife Nigeria. We also have today the press before us. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we welcome you to this brief press conference from CropLife Nigeria. Let me just go through this press release that we have, and thereafter we will take questions from the press. Agrochemical dealers in Nigeria undergo certification training on safe and responsible handling of crop protection products organized by NAFDAC and CropLife Nigeria. As we had during the first round of today's engagement, henceforth all agrochemical dealers in Nigeria must be trained by CropLife Nigeria, listed and certified by NAFDAC before they can handle, store, and distribute agrochemicals used for crop protection in Nigeria. I want to say CropLife Nigeria, as a national chapter of CropLife International, is a non-for-profit association of the plant science and biotechnologies, agrochemical manufacturing, marketing, and distribution industry that conducts stewardship trainings for stakeholders in the agricultural value chain to increase skill capacity for ethical handling and use of pesticides to achieve safe use, cost-effective productivity, and environmental preservation. As a global industry, we do the following. We champion the role of agricultural innovation in crop protection and plant biotechnology to support and advance sustainable agriculture. We are united by a passion to improve agriculture through engagement and partnerships. 3, we are open to the need for a variety of sustainable agricultural practices and informed discussion on the future of farming. 4, we care about our planet and managing its finite resources intelligently. Number 5 there, the last but not the least on this points we are looking at, is we are committed to sustainable agriculture and the responsible use of plant science technologies worldwide. CropLife Nigeria's stewardship activities also include integrated pest management, IPM strategies, container management, and the ethical disposal of obsolete stocks. Reported incessant cases of food contamination, rejects of agricultural export commodities due to high pesticide residues arises from gross misuse and abuse of label instructions and poor knowledge and skills of the stakeholders in the agricultural chemical value chain. CropLife, in collaboration with NAFDAC, has embarked on the training of all enumerated agro dealers in Nigeria, starting from the southwest with specific modules to enhance their capacity and skill on understanding product label instructions, storage, transportation, selection of appropriate pesticide, calibration, that is measurement, and application of these essential crop protection products. The registration of the participants also captures the details of the enterprise, which include name, location, qualification, warehouse capacity, etc., that enables NAFDAC to list all agrochemical depots in the country for closer monitoring and effective regulation. Agrochemicals and plant protection products are stringently regulated worldwide through diligent documentation, registration, disclosure of manufacture, importation, and distribution, extending to the final environmental fate of the product and their packaging standard Standard operation procedures and code of conduct are established by CropLife International for self-regulation of practice, and these standards are adopted by regional and national chapters within the extant laws of local regulatory authorities. There is, most importantly, the Rotterdam Convention on the prior informed consent procedure for certain hazardous chemicals and pesticides in international trade. You can see the reference there, 1998. We give the reference of the Rotterdam Convention. So this treaty endorsed by Nigeria, which covers chemicals that are listed in the convention because of their high hazardous nature and their prohibition or restriction, and procedure for withdrawal of such products from any country where any of these products may have been in use. The collaboration between NAFDAC and CropLife shall facilitate effective withdrawal of any pesticide that is found unsuitable for our farming systems and environment in Nigeria. This effort will also help to check the prevalence of fake and adulterated products in our country and serves as an important strategy towards achieving zero rejects of our agricultural export commodities. All the trade agro dealers from Southwest, when I say Southwest, we mean southwestern part of Nigeria, the region we call Southwest, have been issued certificate of competence by DG NAFDAC, Dr. Monica A. Munizezi. Today, and the certificate shall be valid for tenure, which they shall be due for another refresher training and re-certification. Plans have been concluded on the training schedule for agro dealers in the North Central, Southeast, South-South, Northwestern region and the Northeastern region respectively. They will use the certificate to obtain listing with NAFDAC for proper documentation to enhance the regulation of the distribution value chain. CropLife Nigeria shall continue to collaborate and engage with all relevant regulatory agencies like SON, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, like NESRIA, like Federal Department of Agriculture, like FEES, like NASC, that's, and then NAQS, which is National Agency for Quarantine Services. As we develop technologies that promote smart, sustainable agriculture, the association is looking forward to the passage of the Nigeria Pesticide Bill into an act of law, which is currently at the National Assembly, to create a favorable policy environment for a harmonized regulation of the pesticide industry. Members of CropLife Nigeria are resolutely passionate to make farming easier, productive, and profitable for national food safety and security. Thank you very much for listening. If there are questions, we would like to take that now. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Sheldon Bamber from FirstNigeriaTV. I want to ask about the possibility of public enlightenment by both of NAFDAC and CropLife to actually target the end users of these products. It's what you're doing already is NAFDAC with regulation and you producers. Then you have some people you have trained as those who will be giving them to the public. Don't you think that it's also good for NAFDAC and CropLife to people to collaborate to give direct public enlightenment to end users, so that's what I.
Okay, I'll call on the General Secretary, Dr. Abdullahi, to respond to that question.
Thank you very much. What you have asked for is actually one of the stewardship activity of CropLife Nigeria, and similar to the dealers training, we usually organize this in collaboration with the regulatory agency, which is NAFDAC. And to be specific, I think in 2021, we had 2 sessions of national sensitization workshop, where the erstwhile DG of NAFDAC was present, and at Kaduna, and another one, I think, at Kano and Abuja. And usually what we do is to invite the executives of national farmer associations, like RIFAN, like All Farmers Association, and the likes of them, to a specific location. And we also invite alongside with them staff of the extension officers at the state agricultural development programs, and we talk to them, and show examples on new techniques, new products, and the general expected ethical conduct in handling pesticides in our industry. Thank you.
Yeah, I think in those decisions, you cannot give what you don't have. So what are we here to do? We are trying to empower the people who are closest to the end users. So the end users, it's not possible for us here, the companies, to get to every farmer in Nigeria, but it's possible for us to get to them through the end users. So this is a process. Your question is very alright, but we're in a process where the people who are closest to the farmers are being trained and certified, so that whatever we have, they are closer to pass it on. It will take some time, but finally we'll get there.
Well, my name is. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
My name is Samuel, representing the Daily Trust. I've seen it that the training and certification is a step in the right direction. Now that it has been done in the Southwest, how soon will we be expecting it in other regions?
So I will call on the chairman technical committee, who is actually coordinating the training and accreditation, to answer that question. Mr. Leo.
Okay, so ideally we ought to have completed this training across Nigeria. And now, but the COVID pandemic slowed us down. And so now that we've completed the Southwest, the idea to start the training in other regions actually were conceived. But we wanted first to organize the ceremony. So right now we have designed a program for the other 5 geopolitical zones. And we'll be flagging off North Central training, maybe we completed all the logistic arrangement to flag off North Central. So by January we'll flag off North Central. The mobilization is on. The trade members have been engaged. So the executive of NAFDAC is meeting and providing that registration and accreditation of people that have indicated interest to participate in this training. Everybody who has indicated interest and is formally or informally now in the business of agro dealership is entitled to be part of this training. So we made it open, and that people shouldn't just do trade hiding and providing wrong information and knowledge. So it's open to them to come and acquire this knowledge. And so right now what we're doing is the documentation and bringing the people, registering them ahead of this training is on. So and it's happening across all the regions simultaneously, but step by step, because we need to build capacity, we need to train the trainers and then prepare people that will disseminate and teach all of these people from when the program starts. So it's a process, so we're in it.
Well, my name is Deshe from the Nation Newspaper. Well, there's been a growing awareness of increased cases of mental health among farmers. And then that also draws attention to irresponsible use of pesticide too. That also that affects farmers. What have your association done in this area? Have there been anything? Are you working with farmers? Because the living conditions of farmers are critical if we are going to ensure food security. That's number one. Then you were talking about rejects. Since 2015, we've been battling the issue of beans. They talk about the moisture level, talk about chemical and all that. And then, honestly, we've not had any comfortable response from even quarantine on the move to get EU to ban us so that we can export beans. And that has to also do with responsible use of pesticides and all that. Where are we now? Because your situation, you talk about rejects. How far have you gone down? I'm also aware that Nigeria makes so much money from exports of hibiscus to Mexico. But it's also this issue of pesticide use that has made it at that end. Mexico said, look, we don't want to accept hibiscus from Nigeria. From your own end, what have you done? Then we still talk about certification, which is not a joke. Complying with all these things, it's money. On your own end, what are you doing to make sure the smallholder farmers who have small 2 acres, 3 acres can cope with the cost of certification? And then there's also the last one is the issue of organic fertilization because of problem and premium price at the international market when you export organically produced thing. What is your response to this?
One after the other. My colleagues are going to speak elaborately on this, but let me open the discussion. When you talked about the reject, okay, you see, you're asking what has been done. Your coming here today is part of what we are doing, because the greatest way to attack that which you have observed and which Nigeria has observed in terms of reject of export agricultural commodities starts with sensitization, awareness, training. People need to know, okay? Because, you know, a lot of people who are ignorant about these things they come out and say, oh, since they are having contamination from misuse and this thing, let's ban the product. That doesn't really, it's not where to start from. Of course, we have electricity here, and we get, from time to time, people are electrocuted. We do not say, okay, stop using electricity. That is not the way. The way to go is to make sure that people who use understand the danger of what they are using and the benefits of what they are using. And then they now take it step by step, how to use it, when to use it, and all of that, you know, which is part of this training we are going. So these particular training, which we are giving certificates to today, to people who had gone through the training, is part of it, because as my colleagues have said, once you train those ones, the expectation is that they go now to send that knowledge down to the farmers. There's no way we can bring all farmers and try to satisfy. No, it is the people who are closest to them that will pass down this knowledge. So our hope is that as we have done this, it will pass down the system. And it's not only here. We have told you, the chairman technical was saying, we are already in the process of taking that training from Southwest to the other regions of the country, which means we will cover Nigeria. But not covering Nigeria with all farmers. It's a process. As we have trained some people, they will now train down, and then they will train down until, if the farmer goes to a shop to buy, he's meeting somebody who is already trained, who is going to tell him, look, don't buy this, don't do this, this is sprayer, don't do that, which are all the things that we are doing. So training, sensitization is a lot part of the solution to that problem, you know, and we hope that as we intensify that, then reject will reduce. The goal is to get to zero reject when knowledge becomes available at all levels. Thank you. So I would like...
yes, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. The health of the farmer is of gross concern to us in the industry, and we even have a slogan that goes, no farmer, no nation. Because if there's no farmer, who produces the food? And if there's no food, then I don't think all of us will be peacefully seated here. So the role our industry play in that is that we are also the providers of public health products. Most of the products that are used for fumigation, for control of rodents, rats, cockroaches, comes from our industry. The commonest health ailment in the rural areas of Nigeria is malaria. And I'm sure most of us here would have heard of treated mosquito net. The chemicals that are used for treatment of these nets come from our industry. They are pesticides produced and distributed by our members. So we are grossly concerned. And let me quickly add to the response on zero reject. The rejection of agricultural produce from Nigeria are done on three bases. The first one, we call them technical barriers to agricultural trade. The first one is contamination with heavy metals, and of course that emanates from the kind of equipment that are used in part processing of this. If you use aluminium, a machine, a mill that is made of aluminium or a very poor strength elements, tin and other things, then it can grind into the stock, and when it is sampled to the lab, there will be issue. There is also contamination from bio materials, that is other biological materials like insects being present in the products. And of course, the way to solve contamination with insects and diseases is to ethically use pesticide the way we instruct on the label. And the last one is pesticide residue presence in the stocks. And that emanates from sharp abuse of label instruction. Every pesticide label has a label. I mean, every pesticide product has a label. Once you follow the label instruction, issues of residue accumulation in the stock will not happen. Thank you.
I want to add to what Dr. Ndaru said. If you look back at when the problem of these contamination starts from, it's maybe less than 20 years ago. Now try to relate it when our agricultural extension was very functional. In the last 20 years, there has been the collapse of agricultural extension in Nigeria. And because nature hates vacuum, who is taking up those roles now is the agro dealers. And without, like I said, you cannot give what you do not have. If the agro dealers that are the last stage, they are the one handling the products to the farmers. If they do not know, then what will they tell them? That is why you see that some products that are supposed to be used on the field. I will give you an example. Insecticide. You say insecticide. There are some you do not use it in the store.
Exactly.
They are supposed to be used on the field. If you now use it to preserve your product, then you have abused it. That's one. Another example is there's what we call the harvest interval. If you use a product, there are some products, if you use it, you cannot harvest until the next month. There are some products you can use it and harvest it immediately. So it is basically our problem that we are really not looking at is abuse. It's not, we keep telling, we keep shouting, it's not about the product, it's about misuse. Some off-label instruction, off-label use. That is the brain of the intention. We need to really look at, we keep on training these people because they are the last stage to the farmers now. So their role, they have been taken up.
Thank you very much. Before we, because we are running out of time, we would like to also say that in all of this, press has a big role to play. How do we communicate this? Thank you for coming today, but this is how you should also take interest. You're talking about rejection. Take interest in what is happening in the industry and help us to communicate this, like this training and what. We've given you all the papers now. Make sure that this information is also available in your platforms so that we can reach the farmers and reach those who are in charge of the farmers through you. So we invite the press to partner with us to be able to solve a lot of the challenges that we find in the value chain of agricultural production. Thank you very much. On this note, our time is really up. I don't know if you want to say anything. Okay. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We live to see another time. Okay, thank you. My name is David Achimogo, President CropLife Nigeria.
Thank you, sir. As I mentioned, the situation is a lot of people, of course, not using these pesticides. Just tell us just to know about this whole issue of abuse of pesticides.
Well, pesticide is a highly regulated product all over the world, but we need it to protect our crop from pests. That's what it means, including insects, weeds, and fungal diseases, whatever. All of those things that will affect the yield of crop. We need pesticide to protect the crops from it. And once you do that, then the yield will go up. Not only that, the use of pesticide helps us to reduce drudgery in agriculture. Why young men and women would not like to come into agriculture is because it is labor-driven without technology. But by the time you come into the pesticide industry, we provide technologies that will reduce drudgery on the farm. And so it's actually an empowerment program to introduce pesticide on the farm. But the caveat there is that it must be used according to specification. You know, a lot of people who use pesticide assume that they know what to do with it. No, there are instructions on the labels of every pesticide product. It must be read and used according to those labels. You know, like I was using the example of electricity, for example. Very good, very helpful. But if you don't use it according to recommendation or as directed, then you get yourself burnt. Okay, so it's the same thing with pesticide. If you use it according to label, it increases your yield, it will increase our food production, we'll get our food security, and then of course food safety. But we have to, so what we are doing today, or what we have done today, is to teach, to sensitize, to create awareness on effective and safe use of pesticide. That's what the exercise is all about.
But sir, how come you have this all over? You have them just everywhere. People just use them, like get them at will. The pesticides.
Yeah, that is part of the problem. The problem is that there are regulations and there are people who are supposed to be certified to be able to do something with pesticide. Okay? When the issue is you don't give what you don't have. That's what we were saying the other time. So that's why we are training dealers, because our national agricultural extension services have collapsed. And therefore, in the past, these were the people who were closest to farmers and teaching them each step on how to do those things. But now that they are not there, the dealers, agrochemical dealers, are the ones who are now educating the rural population on the use. So we need to train them, we need to sensitize them, they need to be useful to pass those information. Thank you very much.